There is a moment, often so subtle, it almost slips between the cracks of awareness, when the entire texture of your life begins to shift. You might not recognize it at first. The air feels heavier, yet somehow cleaner, like the stillness before a storm. The colors of the world seem different, though you can't quite explain why. Conversations feel like they're echoing with something deeper than words. And then it hits you. Nothing around you has changed, yet everything has. This is the doorway into the phenomenon I call the frequency reset. One breakthrough, one inner pivot, and the very code of your reality begins to rewrite itself. Stay with me until the end of this journey, because what I'm about to unfold is not just theory, it's a living, breathing map of transformation. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the deeper transmissions still to come. A frequency reset is not a gadget, not a quick tip, not a mental trick you learn and then forget. It is a recalibration of your entire energetic signature. Imagine the universe as a vast ocean filled with infinite waves of possibility. Most people are adrift, bobbing up and down on a current they never chose, convinced that the wind and tide are all there is. But every so often, someone reaches out and touches the hidden wheel beneath the water. They turn it, not with muscle, but with awareness, and suddenly their vessel is no longer at the mercy of the current. The sea doesn't change, the stars don't change, but the journey, the destination, the very feel of the wind on their face, all of it becomes something new. We live inside frequencies, the way fish live inside water. Every thought, every emotion, every belief hums at a certain pitch, sending invisible ripples outward that shape what we perceive as reality. For most, this tuning happens unconsciously. We inherit frequencies from family, culture, history, and even collective trauma. We walk through life inside these inherited harmonics, thinking they are us, but they are not. They are filters, and a filter can be removed, adjusted, or replaced entirely. The breakthrough, the pivot point of the frequency reset, is the moment you realize you have the power to retune your own existence. At first, it feels strange. Old patterns begin to crack. People you've known for years might seem different, not because they've changed, but because you are no longer meeting them at the same vibrational address. Things that used to drain you suddenly have no hold. Things you ignored for years now shimmer with meaning. It's as if your life was written in one language and you've just discovered a translator, only to realize the original text was far more beautiful than you ever knew. The cosmic dimension of a frequency reset is this: you are not merely a passenger in the universe, you are a broadcaster. Every moment you are sending out a frequency signal that draws its own mirror image back to you. Change the frequency and the reflections change. It sounds simple, and yet this is the very heart of spiritual alchemy. It's why ancient mystics spoke in parables and symbols, because the real transformation does not happen on the surface of events, but in the silent, invisible shift beneath them. You might be wondering if such a change is gradual or sudden. The truth is, it is both. There is the instantaneous spark, the recognition, the awakening, the turning of that hidden wheel. And then there is the unfolding, the settling, the integration of the new vibration into the fabric of your life. It's like striking a tuning fork. The sound rings out in an instant, but it keeps resonating long after the initial strike. The challenge is to stay attuned, to keep returning to that new resonance until it becomes your default setting. Why does this matter so much now? Because we are living in a time where the collective frequency is volatile, fractured, and noisy. The currents of fear, distraction, and division are stronger than ever, and yet within that chaos lies an opportunity. If you can reset your personal frequency, you not only transform your own life, you begin to subtly shift the collective field. This is not a metaphorical idea. Consciousness research, quantum studies, and even ancient spiritual traditions point toward the same truth. The vibration you carry is not contained within your skin. It ripples outward, intersecting with the frequencies of others, altering the weave of the shared reality we inhabit. The first step is awareness, but awareness alone is not enough. Many people awaken to the fact that they are in a frequency, yet never choose to reset it. They become observers of their own patterns but remain caught in them. The breakthrough I speak of is not merely seeing the pattern, it is stepping outside of it entirely. That step is terrifying for some, liberating for others, and inevitable for those who truly want to shift their reality. This journey we're embarking on together is not a sterile academic exploration. It is personal, intimate, and alive. As you read, or perhaps as you listen, your own frequency will be brushing up against these words. You may feel resistance, excitement, confusion, or a sudden sense of homecoming. Pay attention to that. Your reactions are not random. They are indicators of where your current frequency is aligned. They are also the first whispers of where it wants to go next. So, let us step into this with openness. Imagine that every sentence is a key, indicates aim, and that somewhere in this unfolding, there is the one that fits the lock you didn't know you had been carrying. This is the nature of the frequency reset. It is not about adding something new to you, it is about peeling away what never belonged. It is about remembering the original song you came here to sing, before the noise of the world made you forget. And once you remember that song, once you hum it into the bones of your being, the world responds. Doors open without knocking. Paths reveal themselves where walls once stood. The same streets, the same faces, the same sky, all of it becomes charged with a different light. That is the shift. That is the breakthrough. And it begins the moment you decide to turn the wheel. A frequency reset is not simply about thinking positively or manifesting in the surface-level way. These ideas are often diluted in modern culture. It is a realignment with a deeper architecture of reality, an architecture that has been present since before your first breath and will remain long after your last. To understand its core themes, we must walk through the unseen scaffolding that holds your life in place. At its heart, this work is about patterns of thought, patterns of emotional resonance, patterns of perception. These are not abstract notions. They are the invisible currents that determine the shape of your experiences. Picture reality as a vast tapestry, each thread vibrating at its own unique pitch. Your consciousness, your frequency, determines which threads you can see, touch, and weave into your life. The breakthrough happens when you realize that what you've been calling reality is just the narrow band of threads you've been tuned to all along. One of the most central themes of a frequency reset is the distinction between the default frequency and the chosen frequency. The default frequency is the inherited vibration, the one you are born into, shaped by your family's beliefs, the cultural climate, the energetic imprints of your early environment. It is like a preset station on a radio you never thought to change. The chosen frequency, on the other hand, is the vibration you consciously select after becoming aware that you have the power to retune. This act of choosing is the essence of sovereignty. Without it, you are living inside a reality constructed from someone else's song. But here lies a subtle truth. Choosing a new frequency is not about rejecting the old one with force or anger. Doing so keeps you tethered to it because resistance is still a form of attention. Instead, the shift comes from disengagement, like stepping out of an old garment that no longer fits. You acknowledge what was, you thank it for what it taught you, and then you walk into the new vibration with quiet certainty. Another guiding pillar of this work is the law of resonance. Unlike the oversimplified law of attraction often portrayed in popular media, resonance is not about summoning things out of thin air. It is about alignment, about becoming a match for the kind of experiences that already exist in the field of infinite possibility. Imagine a tuning fork humming at a certain pitch. Bring another fork of the same pitch near it, and it will begin to hum as well. That is for resonance. In human terms, when your inner frequency aligns with a certain reality, that reality begins to harmonize with you, drawing itself into your path not through magic, but through inevitability. This is where we begin to dissolve one of the great illusions. that change comes from external rearrangement. People spend years trying to alter their circumstances, new jobs, new relationships, new cities, yet find themselves meeting the same emotional landscapes over and over. That is because their frequency hasn't shifted. They are carrying the same song into every environment. The frequency reset turns this inside out. Rather than asking, what can I change out there? It asks, what can I become in here? And as the inner field transforms, the outer reflection must follow. A related concept is frequency imprinting. Every experience you've ever had leaves behind a subtle energetic trace. These imprints can be empowering, like the memory of a moment when you felt truly alive, or they can be limiting, like the emotional residue of failure or betrayal. Without awareness, these imprints blend together into the composite vibration you carry into each new day. The reset involves identifying which imprints are still active, then dissolving or transmuting those that no longer serve. In doing so, you create space for new, higher imprints to take root. Then there is the principle of coherence. This is the state in which your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned with your chosen frequency. It is not enough to think abundance while feeling fear and acting from scarcity. Incoherence sends mixed signals to the field, producing chaotic results. Coherence, on the other hand, creates a clear, strong broadcast that the universe cannot misinterpret. Achieving coherence is a practice, not a one-time event. It is the ongoing refinement of your inner and outer worlds until they sing the same note. It's important to note that a frequency reset is not purely an individual phenomenon. You are part of a living network, a field of interwoven consciousness. When you shift your frequency, you subtly alter the energetic balance of the connections you are part of. Some relationships will deepen as they harmonize with your new state. Others may fade, not out of malice, but because they no longer vibrate at the same pitch. This is one of the more challenging aspects of the process, as it often requires releasing attachments to old identities, communities, and even dreams that were aligned with your former frequency. And yet, within this release is one of the most beautiful truths. The space left behind becomes fertile ground for realities you never knew you could access. The chosen frequency opens portals, not literal science fiction portals, but openings in perception and opportunity that feel just as miraculous. The people you meet, the ideas that come to you, the synchronicities that unfold, these are not random. They are the language of the field responding to your new broadcast. In essence, the core of the frequency reset is a return to authorship. You become the writer of your own vibrational script. You stop reading from the pages handed to you by your upbringing, your society, or your past self, and you begin composing from a place of deliberate creation. You do this not by forcing outcomes, but by embodying the frequency of the reality you wish to experience before it arrives. That is the paradox. You must become it before you can see it. When you live in this way, the line between inner and outer begins to dissolve. You no longer see yourself as a separate observer of reality, but as a co-creative participant in its unfolding. And that shift, from passive witness to active broadcaster, is the seed from which every breakthrough grows. To truly grasp the depth of a frequency reset, it is not enough to understand it intellectually. It must be felt, lived, and breathed. Symbols, myths, and allegories are bridges to that felt understanding. They speak the language of the soul, bypassing the rational mind's tendency to dissect and instead igniting recognition. The deeper layers of this transformation are best illuminated through stories, because stories carry frequency themselves. Consider the image of a lighthouse standing alone on a jagged shore. For years, its beam turns in the same slow rotation, casting light in a predictable arc. Ships have come to rely on that pattern, knowing exactly when and where they will see the beam. But one night, a storm unlike any before shakes the coastline. In the aftermath, the lighthouse keeper climbs the spiral stairs and does something he has never dared to do. He changes the rotation speed. Now the beam cuts through the fog in a new rhythm. At first, the familiar ships are confused. Some pass by without recognition. But over time, new ships, guided by this unfamiliar yet resonant pulse, begin to arrive. The keeper realizes something profound. The lighthouse is not just a warning for ships, it is a signal to a certain kind of sailor. In changing the light's rhythm, he has called forth a new kind of voyage entirely. That lighthouse is your frequency. Ships are your experiences, people, opportunities. When you change your broadcast, some will pass you by, but others, the ones meant for your new vibration, will find you no matter the distance. Another symbolic narrative is the story of the hidden garden. In a small, bustling city, there is a gate in an old stone wall, rusted and covered in ivy. People pass it every day without a second thought. But one day, a woman notices a subtle hum in the air as she walks by. She pauses, steps closer, and for the first time, pulls aside the vines. The gate is locked, but it's not an ordinary lock. It has no keyhole, only a small metal plate that glows faintly when she places her hand upon it. In that instant, her entire body resonates with the hum, and the lock clicks open. She steps inside to find a garden of impossible beauty, plants that shimmer with color, a stream that sings instead of flows, air that feels alive. She realizes the garden had always been there, but its gate could only be opened by a matching vibration. In this story, the city is the ordinary default frequency life. The garden is the reality that exists alongside it, invisible until you match its resonance. The gate's hum is the invitation of the frequency reset, a subtle call that most overlook until they are ready to hear. The breakthrough moment, the matching of vibration, is not about force. You cannot break the gate open with logic or effort. It opens only when you become the frequency it requires. There is also the allegory of the river of mirrors. Imagine a wide river flowing endlessly, its surface perfectly still and reflective. Every person has a small boat drifting along it, and on the surface of the water they see their lives, faces, events, fortunes, reflecting back at them. Some spend their entire existence trying to splash the water, hoping to change the reflection by disturbing the surface. But there is one traveler who notices something different. The reflection changes instantly when he hums a particular tone. He experiments, finding that every tone brings a new reflection, a brighter sun, a different shore, even entirely new companions on his journey. And so he learns that the river is not reflecting the world as it is. It is reflecting the vibration he carries. In each of these stories, the principle is the same. Reality is a mirror that responds to frequency, not force. You cannot beg it, trick it, or bully it into change. You must tune to the change you seek, and the mirror will adjust accordingly. This is the deeper current of the frequency reset, recognizing that life is not an external puzzle to be solved, but an internal frequency to be mastered. On a more cosmic scale, think of the myth of the celestial weaver. In the old tales, there is said to be a being who sits at the edge of time, weaving threads of light into the fabric of existence. Each thread is a life, a possibility, a path. But here is the secret. The weaver does not choose the thread for you. You choose it yourself, by the frequency you hold. When you shift your vibration, it is as if your thread glows in a new hue, catching the weaver's attention, and instantly the tapestry rearranges itself to reflect your new tone. Entire scenes, encounters, and destinies align to meet your new broadcast. These symbolic narratives are not mere flights of imagination. They are encoded truths, preserved in metaphor, so they could survive the erosion of time and the skepticism of the rational age. Ancient shamans, mystics, and seers spoke in such images because they knew the mind could resist facts, but the soul would recognize the pattern when it was wrapped in story. The frequency reset is your lighthouse, your hidden garden, your river of mirrors. It is the moment you decide to stand in the beam of your own chosen light, to match the hum of the gate you long to open, to hum the tone that changes the river's reflection. And once you do, the narrative of your life shifts, not because you've manipulated the plot from the outside, but because you've changed the very ink in which it is written. The beauty of a frequency reset is in its mystery, but its power lies in its application. A breakthrough that only exists in poetic language or mystical imagery may inspire you, but until it lives in your breath, in your actions, in the smallest decisions of your day, it remains only potential. The question then becomes, how do you live your new frequency so fully that it becomes your default reality? To answer this, we must acknowledge a truth that is both liberating and challenging. Your frequency is being broadcast at every moment, whether you are aware of it or not. The shift, therefore, is not something you do for 10 minutes a day, like an isolated ritual, but something you become. You are always sending signals in the tone of your voice, the posture of your body, the quality of your thoughts, even in the micro decisions you make without thinking. The first act of integration is to bring consciousness into these seemingly insignificant moments. Imagine you've just reset your frequency to one of clarity and abundance. In the first days, the echo of your old vibration may still be present. You might catch yourself speaking in scarcity, hesitating when opportunity arises, or seeking validation in places you've outgrown. The old frequency will attempt to pull you back, not because it is evil or malicious, but because it is familiar. This is where presence becomes your compass. Every time you notice the pull of the old vibration, you have the opportunity to choose again, to reaffirm your new tone. Over time, the pull weakens, and the new frequency becomes the steady hum beneath your life. Practical integration also requires alignment in the physical environment. The spaces you inhabit carry imprints of your previous frequency. This is not just about tidying up. It is about creating an environment that vibrates at the same level you now wish to maintain. The objects in your home, the sounds you surround yourself with, even the scent in the air, these are all carriers of resonance. When you walk into a room that matches your chosen vibration, it supports you, it reminds you, and it makes it easier to stay tuned. Relationships, too, must be seen through the lens of frequency. This is one of the most emotionally complex aspects of integration, because the reset will naturally shift your energetic compatibility with certain people. Some connections will deepen, becoming richer and more aligned. Others will begin to feel strained, like two instruments playing in different keys. Letting go is not an act of rejection, but of honoring the integrity of your own song. And it is not always about ending relationships. Sometimes it is about holding your new frequency so steadily that those around you either rise to meet it or naturally drift into a space that better matches their own. In the realm of work and purpose, the frequency reset often initiates a quiet revolution. You may find that tasks you once tolerated now feel like sandpaper against your soul, while opportunities that align with your frequency begin to appear almost magically. The temptation is to leap immediately into dramatic change, but integration invites a different approach. Move with precision, not haste. Test the resonance of each choice. Does it hum in harmony with your chosen frequency, or does it pull you into dissonance? This method prevents you from recreating old patterns under the guise of new opportunities. Emotional resilience becomes another essential pillar. Your new frequency does not exempt you from challenges. It changes the way you meet them. Where once you might have responded to difficulty with fear or resignation, you now approach it with curiosity, asking, what frequency is this experience inviting me to hold? This perspective transforms even setbacks into calibration points, refining your vibration rather than disrupting it. There is also the matter of embodiment. The reset cannot live only in your thoughts, it must inhabit your physical being. Movement becomes a language of frequency. The way you walk, breathe, and inhabit your own skin sends signals into the field. Practices that anchor your body, whether it is dance, yoga, martial arts, or simply walking in nature, help to ground the intangible shift into tangible form. Your frequency is not just a mental broadcast. It is a full-body transmission. Integration is not a straight line. There will be moments when the old frequency surges back, perhaps triggered by stress, old environments, or unresolved memories. In these moments, the untrained mind often assumes the reset has failed. But these are not failures. They are invitations. Each reappearance of the old tone is a chance to strengthen your commitment to the new one. Think of it like tuning an instrument. Even the finest string will need adjustment over time. The goal is not perfection, but consistency. As your chosen frequency becomes stable, the outer world begins to mirror it more faithfully. You may notice synchronicities becoming common, chance meetings, timely messages, opportunities appearing with uncanny timing. These are the universe's way of acknowledging your broadcast. But perhaps the most profound shift is internal. Life no longer feels like a random series of events. You move through your days with the quiet knowing that you are participating in the shaping of reality itself. And here is the paradox of practical integration. The more naturally you live your frequency, the less you think about it. It becomes the water you swim in, the air you breathe. You no longer practice your vibration. You are it. That is the moment the reset is complete. From here, the only question that remains is what you will choose next. There comes a moment, if you have truly lived through the process of a frequency reset, when you realize that you are no longer chasing transformation, you are inhabiting it. The person who began this journey, the one who looked outward for a doorway into a better life, has dissolved. In their place stands someone who understands that the doorway was never in the world. It was always inside you, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to match its tone. This is the quiet revelation at the end of the path. Reality was never out there. The landscapes you walk, the people you meet, the opportunities you encounter, they are all reflections of the invisible field you carry within. When you reset your frequency, you are not bending the universe to your will. You are dissolving the walls that kept you from the version of reality that was already calling you. You are tuning into the station that has been broadcasting your highest potential all along. The beauty of this work is that it does not end. The reset is not a single event. It is the beginning of a lifetime of conscious creation. Frequencies are infinite, each one a doorway into a different experience of existence. When you master one, you begin to hear the faint call of the next. It's not about restlessness or dissatisfaction, it's about expansion. Just as the ocean has no edge, your potential has no end. Every reset is both a destination and a launching point for the next voyage. And yet, while this truth is vast and cosmic, it is also achingly personal. The way you look at someone you love changes when you live from a higher frequency. The way you approach a challenge shifts from fear to creative play. The sound of the morning, the light falling across your floor, the texture of your own breath, all of it becomes richer, more intimate, more alive. You are not waiting for your real life to begin someday. You are in it now, and you know it. But here is the call I must leave you with. Do not let this remain only a poetic idea. You cannot reset your frequency in theory, you must embody it. Choose the vibration you wish to live in, and then hold it. Not just in meditation, not just in moments of inspiration, but in the mundane spaces where your old patterns once lived. Hold it in the grocery store line, hold it in traffic, hold it when you receive criticism, when you face uncertainty, when the world tries to pull you into its static. Understand this, your frequency does not only change your reality, it touches everything around you. You have already been influencing the field your entire life, even if unconsciously. Now imagine what is possible when you do it deliberately. Imagine your presence as a tuning fork, silently bringing others into resonance, not by force, but by the undeniable gravity of your state. This is not ego, it is responsibility. When you rise in frequency, you make it easier for others to rise as well. And perhaps, without even knowing it, you will become someone else's lighthouse. Your presence will be the beam that reaches a weary traveler in the fog. Or you will be the hum they feel as they pass a forgotten gate, the signal that it's time to place their hand upon the lock, or the tone that ripples through the river of mirrors, showing them a reflection they never dreamed was possible. In this way, the frequency reset is not just personal, it is generational, planetary, cosmic. Your choice to reset may ripple outward in ways you will never fully see. A stranger who meets you today may go home and treat their child differently. That child may grow into someone who shapes the destiny of thousands. And all of it began because, in a single moment, you decided to turn the hidden wheel beneath the water. So here you stand at the threshold. You know now that the gate is not locked to keep you out. It is tuned to invite you in. The only question is whether you will match the frequency and step through. The ocean is waiting. The thread in the celestial tapestry is glowing. The light of the lighthouse is turning in a new rhythm, and somewhere in the distance, the garden hums. This is your call to action, not a loud, frantic command, but a soft, steady invitation. Live as if your chosen frequency is already the air you breathe. Let it guide your words, your movements, your silences. Let it shape the way you meet the unknown. And watch as reality bends, not because it must obey you, but because you have finally tuned into the reality that was always yours. The reset is yours to claim. The moment is now.